The only truth about life is that it will inevitably end. But for Frieren, an elf who has lived on for centuries, the concept of death is the least of her concerns. In a world where most shows run like they're at a race against time, Frieren Beyond Journey's End takes a step back to let loose and breathe. Instead of flashy fights and over-the-top power-ups, this show chooses the long and grueling route of exploring the fleeting human nature and value in the mundane. I must admit that my attention span was on life support at first, but once you push through those initial episodes, you'll find yourself immersed in some of the most stunning pieces of animation gracing your dusty screens. And just when you think things are about to heat up, Frieren gently tugs you back into the beautifully ordinary and criminally underrated slow-paced life. Being as ancient as dinosaurs and seeing your loved ones pass on may be a daunting experience for most, but as an elf, Frieren was born with an emotional buff that kept her from attaching herself to the temporary and feeling barely any emotions for her lost friends and elvian relatives. Elves are also canonically asexual, which explains why their population is on the decline. All that power needs to be balanced somehow. Yet even someone as emotionally detached as Frieren could not withstand the impact of these ordinary humans with lifespans as short as hamsters in her eyes. Frieren's character perfectly embodies the statement, "It is what it is." However, as the show goes on, we see how she slowly absorbs human emotions and feels for their kind, how her immovable heart is met by the relentless storm known as Himmel, who in his shorter than a day's lifespan in Frieren's eyes, left such a deep and unforgettable impression on her to the point where every little thing reminds her of him. And by every little thing, I mean down to the most minute details, steering all conversations in Himmel's direction. Breathing, oh Himmel used to do that all the time. Yapping, none could contest his tongue in flowery words. Seeing, I'm pretty sure those eyes held the world in them. And then she dares to say such emotions are alien to her. At least Himmel would be proud to know how piercing his charisma was that it lasted nearly a century and beyond. Out of all the things that she has learned from him, the most significant was the importance of time, something she has never once treasured, which is understandable since the more you have of something, the less it makes a difference for you. Her decade-year-long journey to take down the big bad Mao or Demon King felt no less than a day for her. Yet seeing Himmel and the rest of her crew slowly age and pass before her eyes moved something in her, that even though urgency was not a part of her dictionary, she needed to embrace, at least try to make haste, time and space for her mortal comrades. And so she begins her journey, which is beyond the journey you'd envision, to understand these creatures known as humans. If there's one thing Frieren loves, it's the basics, right down to the juicy fundamentals. This is shown by how she uses simple spells and insists Frieren to use the most mediocre, routine and boring spells. Practical, yes. Exciting, not so much. Frieren is all about function over fashion and substance over style. You can tell by how she's retained the same outfit for over a century now, which I'm pretty sure she washes and dries in the go. She makes life as low maintenance as possible. That is, for herself at least. Her character defines the essence of the show with her interest in spells ranging from basic convenience spells of drying clothes or enhancing her cooking abilities to an apocalyptic hellfire summoning spell that burns all that it touches to ashes, which happens to mirror the show perfectly with the slow and cozy slice of life parts on one hand and thrilling dungeon raids and dragon and demon slaying on the other. With Frieren, that says a lot about her character as a nature-loving elf who, if pushed, can drive whole races to extinction without so much as batting an eye. It is, once again, a blessing that elves aren't aggressive or corrupt by nature. Not that we've seen that many to begin with, but so far they've been docile. One thing Frieren does so well is that it doesn't take any risky measures to map out its plot or write character developments. Pretty much everything about it is casual, open-ended, and risk-free, which makes for a relaxing watch without worrying about whether or not your favorite character would survive or whether it'll have the most pathetic twists of all time. Frieren has no such dramatic twists or turns that could turn fans into certified haters or leave it forgotten through the test of time, such as the fate of the once beloved Jujutsu Kaisen. A slice-of-life fantasy anime free from an army of harems, over-the-top comic relief, fan service, although somebody would be happy to have that, and an essay for its name, like Frieren, is always appreciated. Speaking of names, the Japanese version of the name Soso no Frieren literally translates to Frieren at the funeral, which represents the theme of the show being grief, longing, and remembering the deceased. Whereas Frieren is a German word which means to freeze or to feel cold, which perfectly captures her emotional detachment from the mortal world. This touch of simplicity extends to the world building as well as the power systems, with nothing too bizarre about either and no mind-boggling discoveries on the horizon. Sometimes lower stakes, cozy settings, and a chill cast is exactly what you need at the end of a long day, and this show is just that. Arguably the best part about Frieren is its lovable characters. The way Fern and Stark interact and grow together under the very responsible and watchful tutelage of Frieren makes up most of the show and never ceases to bore me despite how petty and repetitive their arguments may get. They're somehow a match made in heaven, with Stark's obliviousness and Fern's sensitive nature cancelling each other out in the most heartwarming way possible. These insignificant and seemingly forgettable moments add to Frieren's emotional development, ultimately stirring a sense of humanity within her, though some humans leave behind a deeper impression than most. Frieren aside, the mangaka Kanehito Yamada loves her characters equally and blesses them with enough screen time to grow on the audience and leave their subtle yet unique marks behind. Some notable ones being the adorable love-hate relationship between Lavinne and Kanne, the slightly twisted one between Ubel and Land, and all the found families that come together to be rays of sunshine in each other's lives. Another aspect I love is how every little detail serves as building blocks for the greater plot. The best example for this would be Himmel meeting Frieren as a child, falling in love with a simple yet beautiful spell of blooming a bed of flowers, being helped and guided by her, and then growing up and doing the same for her. And how he went as far as to have their statues built, so even when they're gone, Frieren would not feel so lonely. Himmel serves as the greatest catalyst for Frieren's quest of understanding humans, and how she slowly comes to see how despite short lifespans, humans make such long-lasting impressions, leaving behind legacies that stand the test of time. That is how humans have attained immortality. But since neither Frieren nor Sirje have a sense of time nor rush to achieve anything, you could assume that they've been procrastinating most of their centuries-long lives. So for them, mortal beings that cherish time are like higher beings that deserve their utmost respect, some more than the others. The all-powerful maid Sirje even went as far as to say that humans would one day overtake elves. I have to say it's refreshing seeing humans in such a positive light for once. But knowing Sirje, I'm pretty sure she meant in the quest for power, regardless of how morally bound said quest may be. Another thing that stands out about Frieren is its strange sense of nostalgia, as if it's always been with us and we've grown up alongside the characters. Well, except Frieren herself. She's like the female Ash Ketchum. They never grow up. What makes this show nostalgic, however, are the soft BGMs that blend themes of longing and acceptance. And how can we forget about the breathtaking animation? Madhouse is one studio that never fails to deliver, and not just in the action sequences, but in the most mundane scenes possible. You would see masterclass animation for scenes like Stark putting on his jacket, or every strand of Fern's hair moving. Frieren blinking had more frames than all of Blue Lock Season 2. This is how it is done. Frieren also shines with in-depth character writing, unique designs and stories that make them so memorable and lovable. How long has it been since we've gotten a fantasy show that isn't infested with harems, fan service, and over-the-top tropes? You know which ones I'm talking about. I'm glad Frieren's mangaka and artist had their fair share of grass-touching moments to give us such a heartwarming show with realistic characters, both in mind and body. Isn't it ironic how we learn the most about human beings from non-humans? Seeing Frieren meet people, bid them farewell, hoping they'd cross paths one day, is a lesson to remember. Not to sound cheesy or anything, but nothing in this world is eternal, and the only coping mechanism for that is acceptance. As I watched the show, I found myself lacking when I kept thinking of how Frieren would see Fern and Stark grow old and die, and how the cycle will repeat endlessly, and kept wondering how long would it take for her to snap. But that's exactly what the show is about. She has long accepted that she cannot change their fates, and thanks to Himmel, has vowed to look over her mortal comrades and see them off with a smile. Frieren is thus not just a show but an experience. You'll probably not live even a fraction of her life, but a glimpse into her mind should be more than enough motivation to live meaningfully, to cherish the little time we have and try not to be fleeting annoyances while we're at it.